Dylan's log 200808. So, come back from our survival trials, heading back on the path back to the village. We meet up, the three of us. And so we just discuss the things that we did in our adventures out in the wilderness and that kind of thing. When we get back to the village, those three young Kazenti are already back, and they've got these skins that are laid out with all the stuff they have on them. Uh, one of the boys had like the claws and teeth of a bear-like creature. Um, Obviously, everybody's got dried meat and stuff, and so we lay our stuff out too. There's some discussion because they've been being their stuff is being judged by the older hunters, and even the elder, the old man, is going around and making comments. And apparently, there's some kind of discussion about this bear claw teeth things on whether or not the boy actually killed one or if he just found the carcass or the skeleton, and took stuff. But the elder did not seem impressed with all that, and so we lay ours out. And no, I don't have any wolf teeth and stuff. And I'm thinking on the way back, I'm thinking, I don't have much to show in this, kind of fire pot thing. Just I thought it was kind of cool, carrying fire with you, and if I needed to, I could turn it to like a grenade kind of deal. So I'm thinking about trying to, if it comes down to what is this, what are you doing? I could try doing something like that. I'm thinking in the back of my head, there's going to be some young punk kid who's going to make snide remarks and snicker at my stuff. Um, and I'm thinking, since I don't really have a lot to present, to the village for my hunting, that I could initiate uh, standing in the tribe by doing some kind of honor combat. So I'm thinking in the back of my head, if some little punk kid makes some kind of snidey comment, starts snickering, that I take the butt of my spear and trip him, knock him down, initiate some kind of honor fight kind of thing. So I'm thinking, because if it comes to a fight, I've got a couple of tricks in my sleeve, which I'm hoping will carry me through the day. Anyway, so we get back, and the elder, when he's checking out my stuff, is looking at the pot and is looking at me questioningly, and so I'm looking around. There's nothing that I can actually throw out to make a fire kind of thing. So I just pull some dead grass and pour it out and start a fire. You can carry fire with you wherever you go. And some hunter comes over and grabs the pot from the old man, and I'm just stunned. So I reach down, I grab my spear, take a whack at him to knock it out of his hand. I miss. He looks at me and he throws the pot to the ground, so I spit on him. he fumes at that point, takes a swipe at me, and gets me really good on the left arm. So at that point, just backing up kind of thing. Didn't think that they would just allow combat to run out right here in front of everybody without some kind of controls. And like some hunters get in between the two of us, and the old man comes over to me and looks at my arm, and he says, that I am challenged. I have been challenged. I am to come back in 5 days. And as we're gathering up our stuff and getting out of town, we start noticing there's kind of two factions here in the village. There's a faction that seems kind of interested in us or intrigued, and there's a faction that just wants to kill us. That's obvious. You can see them, looking at us and that kind of thing. So we go back to the ship, heal up my arm. We spend a couple of days to get plants and stuff, and I finished healing up. And then when we come back to the village, and obviously we're all decked out because we're driving through the wilderness, and obviously we don't want, especially run into any Corellians. We do not want to be just trancing around without weapons and armor. Plus, it is so hot and humid here. Our environmental suits what's keeping us cool. So come to the village. The old man looks at me and goes stuff. So I strip out, which I expected. I would have done it anyway. I probably should just, as soon as I get to the village and there's all these people, find a place to unload all my stuff. But he comes out and or comes over to me and tells me to first blood. Okay, not a problem. I brought both my vibro dagger in case we had to do a real nasty fight. But I also brought my Dralloy dagger. So I pull out my stuff. I pull out my Dralloy dagger, and I come over and he tells me that there's greater honor in traditional weapons. And so I look at him and I go, what traditional weapons? And he pulls out from underneath his robes a flint knife and hands it to me. You know, there's something really familiar about this knife. And also, when he does that, a lot of the other Kzinti focus in on what's happening here. Like the atmosphere has changed because of this. And as I look, I realize this must be the flint knife that I used on my little survival trial. And the other Kzinti guy, the guy I'm fighting, makes some comments, and they go over and they talk with him, and he gets a bit upset. Then he yells at somebody, one of his guys, and that dude takes off into the village. So he comes back, and there's a sheathed dagger that he has, and he pulls out as a flint knife like mine. And excuse me. So as I'm walking towards the ring, they lay out a ring. There's this skin that's so big, roughly 10 foot by 10 foot kind of thing. And then just outside of that, by maybe another foot, they've staked out 4 posts and then roped some kind of leather thong kind of thing around it. So there's a square ring that we need to fight in. And the old man points to the skin that's on the ground, and then he points to the grass off the side and says, "Dishonor," or "Coward." It says "Coward." So apparently there's some kind of honor thing on staying on the deal. So I'm thinking through my head a couple of things. First thing is do a couple of tricks to get that first cut in. The second is, if I'm not able to just do some kind of kick push and get him off the you must say tarp, the skin. So begin encryption. So as I'm stepping into the ring, I invoke the disrupting, boring visage kind of thing that I learned from Maliki. And my plan is, as soon as he makes a movement to attack me, I'm going to dodge and invoke the cloaking that would make me invisible. Step around behind him, stand in the back, make it all over with real quick. I'm hoping to use my whole dodge thing as a way of, to everybody else's view of he lost sight of me kind of thing, and I just took advantage of it. That's what I'm thinking, trying to portray to everybody else. End encryption. So I step into the ring, and he's looking at me funny, and he starts making some comments, and some other people are looking around, and they make comments back at him, and they seem to be making fun of him for some reason. And so I get ready, and the old man, he does this thing where he extends his claws and pricks his paw and drops a drop of blood onto the hide that we're fighting on. And then when he releases his claw, that's the sign, obviously, to begin fighting. I'm just kind of watching the guy. He's watching me, but out of this periphery, I can see him, keep an eye on the old man. And as soon as the claw goes out, he comes at me. So I do a dodge and try to maneuver behind him. He ends up missing me, thank goodness. because I know with those claws and how big they are, especially with, I could tell when he hit me that first time, that was just like a slap in the face kind of deal. So he nails me, I'm in big trouble. So I dodge off to the side. He looks a little disoriented, and he starts turning around, so he's sort of facing me, and so I just jab at him. I got him on the inside of the thigh. Got him pretty decent. I may have come fairly close to an artery or something, but not enough to put him down. And then he screams at me, and he takes 2 swipes. Thank goodness I was able to dodge both of those at the end. So I just kind of step back. Step back and dodge, step back and dodge. He takes a couple swipes at me. A couple of other KZNT guys jump in and hold him back. He's trying to fight through them at me. So they're trying to hold him back, and he fights at them. They start pounding him down. And then he does one of those cat leap things they do, leaps out of the ring and tears off into the woods. The old man signals for somebody to bring something over, and they bring over the sheath for the dagger that the guy had, and they give it to me. So obviously this is more than just, I have not only just established my ranking in the clan here somehow, but the scabbard represents something. I eventually figured out it has all of his property, his holdings. They take us out to his house, and it's now our house, our hut. So we set up. The old man, he in talking to us and talking with everyone else, says that we have walked with honor, that we can walk among them. So we're kind of like entering in. Okay, so our hut is upriver from the village here. Standard KZNT stone hut, 2 floors, a slate roof. We go inside. One of the KZNT guys is showing us. He opens the door, shows us in. Here you go, and then he leaves. It's kind of musty in here, so we open the windows up, get some breeze blowing through. Furs everywhere. There's antlers and skulls and stuff hanging on the walls. There's a fireplace. There's no like furniture. There's another room here on the bottom floor. Seems to be a kitchen of sorts. Storage facilities, fire pit kind of thing, and stuff like that. There is a back door here and a window. This front door. There's a ladder up to a second floor. It's got 2 other rooms, bedrooms of some kind. And so at this point, Robin says, I'm not sticking around here. I'm going back to the ship. So she takes off. Me, Tindo, and Renaud are going to hang out here just to see what's going to happen, really, and to see what kind of community responsibilities do we now have. But we're not trusting anybody. We set up a watch schedule, and during my watch, we bring the drone over, so we got some video feed of stuff happening around us. And during my watch, I noticed from the video feed a KZNT coming up. So I guess guys have got company. And Tindo recognizes, because look, it's kind of a small KZNT. Is it like a female? And we're all going, oh, she is kind of smaller. Maybe it is. And so we're watching. I'm actually in the kitchen with the Gauss rifle, facing towards the doorway. So if somebody does come through and is doing something, I'm ready to defend if necessary. But this KZNT could have been a young male. Climbs the window, looks inside, then drops down and runs off. Let him go, no big deal. Don't know if they're trying to give us a message or something, or if it was just to see if we're actually still there, or to set up an ambush maybe. But Renaud goes outside and checks to see if maybe something was dropped underneath the window, some kind of message or something. Nothing there though. The rest of the night goes by without any incident. Next morning, we eat some breakfast. I sit on the front porch the front step of my hut, just to, watching. Other people are going out fishing, people going out hunting, people heading into the village. The warrior guard guy that we first ran into when we came to town is headed, past our hut, and he stopped and started sniffing around, and I invite him forward. Tindo is brewing some coffee, and that's probably a fairly different smell from what they're used to around here. So we bring him in, she offers him some coffee, and he has some, and he seems to like it. And Tindo takes hers with lots of cream and sugar, so I'm sure these cat people would really like that. So she gives him some more. He really likes it, and then he goes off on his way. So after breakfast, we're thinking, okay, we're not going to just hang around here doing nothing. We've got to do something. And I'm thinking, okay, village needs to tell us if we got some kind of responsibility. So, mid morning, we head down to the village just to see if we can meet with the elder or something. Oh, but before that, we decided to do a thorough search of the house. And in doing so, I think it was Ronald. Yeah, Ronald found a loose flagstone in the kitchen. Takes it up, and there's like a space underneath it, and there's a leather skin, very fine, folded up there. We'll take it out. Is there anything? Nothing in it. No kind of impressions like there's been something in it. Nothing. Well, then Tinka says that he's going to pull out his knife and dig around in the dirt. And as he's digging around, he hits something. So we dig out this box, and inside this box are a handful of duralloy fragments that can be made into things like knives, etc., or spears and that kind of thing. Oh, that reminds me, one of the spears, there's some weapons hanging up in the front room as well, is like a boar spear. It's got the cross piece on it, but it's made out of, it's a repurposed piece of duralloy. It's interesting. So we take the duralloy pieces with us. Did leave the spear though, and we go down to the village, go to the longhouse, go inside to see if we can speak with the elder. One of the things that I want to talk to him about is this dream that I had about a sailing ship and caught in cages and the village being caught on fire and that kind of thing. Just to see if there's something about these ships that they do come and raid villages or not. But it doesn't mean anything to him. And so we ask, okay, is there anything else that you need from us? What does the village need from us? He seems to think like he wants to say something, but he doesn't. And he just says, to go hunting. And then he pulls out, he calls somebody, and they pull out, he pulls out from what they have this piece of old tech. It's a compass of some kind. They've got these Gazinti markings on it. And checking against my digital compass, it's pointing to magnetic north of this planet, and it's got a bezel and a declination mark for the adjusting from true to magnetic, that kind of stuff on it. And he tells us it's so that we can find our way back, like this old man. So that we depart, get in the ship. Well, we wait for night for the station to be on their side. We use just passive sensors to go to this area that we think we'll be able to find more plants and more in line with what we're trying to find chemically for the antidote to the drugs. And but it's inside the jungle. But we're able to find a small lake, large pond kind of thing we could submerge into out there. Next day we go out hunting and spend the morning and then part of the afternoon and into the evening, but we want to get back to the ship before nightfall kind of thing. And as we're out, we're able to find a lot more of these plants, or plants that seem similar to what we're looking for. And while we're out there, I've got a passive combat sensor, and Tegan has a combat sensor as well. So I think his was unnoticed offhand that they got motion in the jungle, and so we're watching, and we start to move. There's a clearing off to the east, I believe it was, and so we start moving towards the clearing because we want to have a clear shot of this thing, right? And it's falling parallel to us, and so we get to the clearing, and it stops moving. It's not coming any closer, and it's not coming into the clearing either. So I figure, okay, so what do we do next? Well, Reynald goes out into the middle of the clearing with his blast rifle, needler rifle. Robin stays back on the backside with her blast rifle, and then Tegan goes along one side of the clearing, I'll go across the other. We're trying to make a trap kind of deal, right? And as we're coming along, I spot a head, like an alligator head, and a serpentine kind of neck body thing, but it just goes down to the jungle. I lose sight of it. And I want us to make a headshot. Gotta make sure we hit this thing. But at about that time, Robin says, I see it. She shoots. So everybody loads off into the jungle. And when I fired, just jungle and stuff flies up. But the thing turns and runs into the clearing and is heading towards Reynald. And so I take 2 more shots off at it. Tegan actually throws a grenade. Reynald starts backing up, getting ready to run. He's going to take a shot and then turn and run. And then Robin's going to take a couple shots at it too. But between all of that, we managed to put it down. Actually, between shots we had earlier, my Gauss rifle round and the grenade, I think that's what did it. Put it down. So we go and we check this thing out. It's got really tough, leathery hide, like you expect from an alligator kind of thing. It's got all this massive teeth. It's got these huge claws. So we start taking claws and teeth. We skin the thing, things we can bring back to the village, right? And then we start dressing it out. We're going to take all this meat back with us too. This thing's got the size of four people. It's big. And we take it back to the ship. We figure out some way to like vacuum seal the meat itself so it won't go back. So we can't smoke this whole thing forever to do that. And we're thinking some other things, but yeah, if we just kind of vacuum seal it and put it in a container cargo where there's no air, it's not going to go bad kind of thing. So that's what we do. Next day, we go out again looking for more of these plants and stuff. The doc's not able to get much distance on what he's looking for or what we're looking for to get a more refined search done. And about midday, we're into another creature, but this thing's moving fast. And so there's no clearings near us, but there's a river off to the south. Maybe it's south. So I'm thinking if we can get to the river, that'll at least give us some kind of line of sight on this thing. So we start booking that direction, but between our combat sensors and half us moving, this thing is gaining on us. And so we just, okay, stop and turn here. Tegan sets up a grenade against the bottom of a tree. I pull off a 90-degree angle. Everybody else pulls back. The thing comes rolling up, and it's hideous. It's got like a squid-like head, these tentacles and stuff. And we can see a flipper that's going on. After we get a look at it, it's like this giant walrus with squid for a head. Oh, nasty stuff. So, and we're talking about gigantic. So the thing comes right up on the grenade. Tindo puts it off. It explodes. I pump a couple rounds into it. Tegan puts rounds into it. Robin puts some blaster rounds into it. But these, because his head is so big, these tentacles are huge, the whole thing is monstrous. you seem to be just hitting it in these tentacles. So a couple of the tentacles actually get, they're useless now, kind of thing. They're just kind of flopping there. I did get a decent body shot on it, but at that point, Tegan is kind of trapped. So she shoots straight up with her anti-grav device. But as she does so, one of his tentacles whacks her down, knocks her flat, and then comes up and she's stuck to it. Like it's got little suction cups or something to it. And so she's trying to break away. I take an aim shot to the head. Ral does the same. I believe Robin does the same. And then it's pulling Tegan to its maw, which is in the middle of all these tentacles. We can't see that. So we get one shot left, one set of shots left, and we all fire, and that's enough to actually take it down. So we start investigating this thing. This thing has teeth all around its maw, right? 360. But these aren't just teeth; they're like venomous fangs because there's this goo coming up as we're, because we're taking the tentacles off, more meat for the village kind of thing, and it's got really, really thick, flatty kind of hide. So we're trying to think of, okay, what can we take? How much can we take? But as we're cutting the stuff up, Ronald is getting this goo all over his gloves and his hands. So, hey, Ronald, look at God. We start washing them. It's getting all over everything. And so we pull some of these teeth though, and we gather some of this venom for the doc to check out and possibly use. We clean ourselves up. We pack up what we can of the tentacles. It's not much out of this one, but it was huge. These tentacles are gargantuan, so that's going to be more than enough out of this thing. And we head back to the ship. Next day, we go out and we find some more of our plant specimens. We think we got about 100 different specimens here. That should be more than enough. The doc, this time from his analysis yesterday, thinks he's getting a little closer to what we need, but we figure, okay, that's enough for now. Let's take all this stuff back, give it to the village, and the doc spends more time doing analysis and stuff. So wait for the station to get dark side. It's night. We head back, and as we head back, we notice lights from one of those sailing ships pulled over the side by the river, and there's a little camp there. And then we notice further up to our village is on fire. And so we start looking, are there still people that are setting things on fire or not? But no, there's people trying to get the fire put out. End log. And that's where we ended our session. A couple of interesting things that did occur were on my casting my mentalism spells. I did actually do a couple I did a special and a critical on that, so that was kind of handy. And I got a critical dodge, and that was one of the one things that was going to save my life when the Gazinti actually could see me. Because once I attacked him, I'm essentially visible. Although, according to the rules, because we're mixed matching systems here, according to the rules for the spell, he just gets another resistance roll or a power versus power thing on me. But again, it's like at minus 50% or something like that. So there's a modifier in there. It makes him hard to see me, which is really amazing for this spell. But anyway, and obviously when he saw me, quizzical because I was blurred, minus 10% to hit kind of thing, right? And then when I did my dodge and my cloaking one went off, thank goodness, I was betting everything on these two rolls, the blur and the cloaking, mostly on the cloaking. If the cloaking worked, everything was going to work as far as I was concerned. And so I dodged off, and then he couldn't see me, and he's screaming because something happened, something wrong. He's looking around, and he starts to spin. At that point, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get a huge bonus. I'm decent with a knife. First blood, that's all it takes, right? We didn't get any criticals or specials out in looking for the plans. So it's just the standard, gathering stuff together. We'll see how well that does for us. But something that I didn't mention, I don't think, before is that when I was doing my community with Maliki out in the woods during our survival phase, I did have a dream. And in this dream, there was a ship and there were cages and it was cold and dark. And there was a full moon and there was a village on fire. And the person I'm seeing the dream through is running from the village and looks down into there's a river, a body of water. Looks down at the water and I can see these slitted violet eyes. And most of the Kzinti have yellow eyes. And so when we got back to the village, I did ask when we went to the village before we left, went to see the village elder inside the longhouse. While he's getting the compass for us, I'm just kind of looking around. I'm looking to see if there's anybody who's got, because mostly cat people have yellow or yellowish eyes, various shades of yellow eyes, right? So I'm looking around to see if I can't see some with these violet or purple eyes. And I don't. But that young Kzinti girl that helped us the first time we were here is the one who brings the compass out to us. So there's something about her. She's got some kind of connection with what's going on. But so that's why I asked the old man earlier about sailing ships and cages. See if does everybody know about these pirates that capture slaves or not? Which I'm assuming what this fish is all about. But he didn't know anything about that. And so I'm seeing all this. This is my vision now coming to fruition. It was actually of the future, not of the past. So I'm thinking, okay, we need to. At first, I was thinking we'll land in between the village and the ship so we can capture anybody who's running from the village. I mean, bad guys, right? But as we're scoping down with the visual sensors on the ship, we can see cages at the camp and stuff. And so I'm thinking, oh, we need to land there. We need to take all these people out. But one of our players Tindo had to cut out a little earlier, and so we just kind of ended the session there. So we'll begin the session on, okay, we're in the ship. This is what we see. What's the decision going to make? So we've got the whole party making that decision, not just me and Reynald. Anyway, 32 minutes, a long one. Sorry, guys, but it was a lot of fun. I was actually wondering if the GM was going to set up one of these honor combat things. I thought I was actually going to provoke one if it didn't happen. It was kind of cool that it did. I'm so thankful that the spells all worked. Everything is on those spells working. That was my bonus. Happy gaming.